piece that you played for me earlier?
That was Soldier's Joy, which it's kind of like, I always link that to like the E blues on guitar, because that's like one of the first things you learn on playing guitar. Start learning the blues, then you learn the E blues because it's open blues. And you know, I played that, I still play it all the time, because you have to keep playing it your whole life till you get it right, because it's the most fundamental thing. So I always thought Soldier's Joy for me was like the most basic, bare bones thing. You can noodle around and throw a little different scale, like I throw that little walk-up scale thing in there, because it's the rudimentary thing, the fundamentals. So. After college, I got into a lot of like Willie Nelson, Johnny Cash, Hank Williams, honky-tonk stuff, and had a couple different bands. Played that music for a long time, and then got a banjo from an Irish guy whose father played the banjo and sent him off to live in New York City with his banjo, and the guy had no interest in banjo. So he put an ad in Craigslist that he needed to unload this banjo. He wanted to trade it for any sort of guitar amplifier because he wanted to play electric guitar. So I had a little $40 amplifier in my closet, and I traded it and started coming to the old time sessions in the city. And with a banjo I didn't know how to play, and I would just sit there listening. And then after a year or so, I started really getting it. And that was in 2003 about, I think. Yeah. And I played non-stop. There was 3 sessions a week in Manhattan at the time, so I would go to all these sessions, you know, 5 hours at a time, and just play banjo. So it was like...
So you learned on the spot?
Yeah, it was like getting a master's degree in banjo, a 3-year program of study. Yeah, that was part of it. When I was really starting to get into this music, was that I knew I'd be playing it forever, you know. It's also very easy because you can just show up and start playing. I've played in a lot of bands before where you have to lug your equipment out and set up and do a sound check, and it takes 20 minutes to get all the things plugged in, and there's feedback, and you have all these nightmare scenarios happen at gigs. But with this, you just walk up and start playing. It's so simple. Not that that's a reason to get into music, just because it's easier to set up, but you know, I think this music has always had a DIY attitude from the beginning. You know, people who sort of made this music based on all these English and Irish and Scottish ballads and fiddle tunes. It was do-it-yourself music for people living in the woods. And for a lot of people like myself and Nate and others who come from more of like a punk rock DIY background, this fits really well. And it's, you know, it's fast and furious music sometimes. So it fits that sensibility. You know, there's a lot of people who are into punk music who are into this music amongst our generation.
Jazz in the sense that there's a language, that there are standards, that the names may be different, but there are standard hoedowns and there's standard ballads.
Yeah.
That everyone learns the language, and there's like, is there room for improvisation because of that, or?
Well, that's a big sort of point of contention or gray area in this whole business. Like we were talking about earlier, well, there's a lot of people that are purists, and you have to play the tune straight, and you have to respect the fiddler, and you're just, the rest of the band is accompanying the fiddle, and it's all fiddle tunes, and nobody can sing or improvise or, that much. The funny thing is the banjo has the most room for improvisation, because the fiddlers are playing the tune straight. They're carrying the melody, but the banjo player a lot of times is just like noodling around the neck on top of the straight tune. But our band, the Strung Out String Band, we just take breaks, solos, which isn't, you don't do that in old time music a lot, but we sort of are doing it ourselves and have a little bit more of a bluegrass attitude sometimes about just taking solos or doing it our own way, or